I could do way better than you, my girlfriend snapped. So I let her try. Now she's crying in her mom's basement while I'm engaged to her old boss. My name's Ryan, 30 years old, male, and I still remember the exact moment the air shifted between me and Madison, 28 years old, female, my ex. We'd been dating for 3 years, living together for almost two, and I honestly thought she might have been the one. I wanted boring stability. She wanted fireworks. The fight wasn't even about anything major, at least not at first. I'd just gotten back from a long shift. I work construction, and my body was sore in that deep, bone-heavy way you only know if you've poured concrete for 10 hours in the sun. I'd thrown my boots off at the door, sat on the couch, and said something dumb like, "Man, I could live off pizza forever." She looked at me with this mix of disgust and pity. That's when she snapped. "I could do way better than you, Ryan." The words sliced through me sharper than anything she'd ever said. Not the usual nagging about dirty socks or how I never planned dates. This was different. It wasn't frustration, it was contempt. I sat there, stunned. She stood, arms crossed, that look on her face like she'd been waiting to say it, like she'd been chewing on it for months. "Better than me?" I asked. My voice came out flat, almost dead. She shrugged. "Yeah, I could be with someone who actually tries. Someone who's not just comfortable. You don't push yourself, you're just coasting. Do you even want more out of life than this?" She gestured at my boots by the door, the small apartment we split rent on, the pizza box from last night. And here's the thing. She wasn't entirely wrong. I wasn't some ambitious startup guy or suit and tie dreamer. I worked hard, paid my bills, came home tired, and gave what I could. But apparently that wasn't enough. I wanted to scream at her, tell her she was ungrateful, remind her of all the times I stayed up late fixing her car or the way I held her when her dad had a health scare. But I didn't. Instead, I just let her try. "If you think you can do better, Madison, go ahead," I told her. My voice didn't even crack. Her eyes widened for a second like she hadn't expected me to call her bluff. Then she smirked. "Fine." The weeks after that were surreal. She packed her things, lips tight, acting like she was making some grand escape. She wasn't crying, she was smug, like she was trading up. She even said it once, under her breath but loud enough for me to hear, "I'll show him," and I let her go. But here's the part I didn't see coming. Watching someone trade up isn't just painful, it's humiliating. She jumped headfirst into a new crowd, showing up at work parties with men who wore expensive watches and smiled too wide. She paraded herself around like she'd just been released from prison. Meanwhile, I stayed quiet, swallowing the rage, the betrayal, the disbelief. Every night alone in that apartment, her words replayed in my head like poison. "I could do way better than you." It was supposed to break me. Instead, it planted something darker. Because I wasn't done yet. Madison didn't just leave me. She performed it like theater. She wanted an audience for her level up. A week after she moved out, I saw the first Instagram post. Madison, glass of wine in hand, hair curled perfectly, captioned, "Sometimes you gotta leave behind dead weight to find your wings." Dead weight. That was me. I stared at that post until the words blurred. Then I noticed who'd liked it. Some guy named Brandon, mid-30s, sharp suit in every photo. Turned out Brandon was her boss at the marketing firm she worked at. He'd been at company happy hours before, the type who slid into conversations with a laugh just a little too rehearsed, always with a hand on someone's shoulder. Madison once described him as confident, successful, driven. Now, apparently, he was her upgrade. I can't even lie. Watching her flaunt him stung like hell. Dinner dates, rooftop bars, vacations I couldn't have afforded if I'd sold my truck. Every time she tagged a location, I felt that same dull punch in my chest. She wasn't just moving on, she was making damn sure I saw it. And I did see it. My buddies tried to talk me down. "Ignore her, man. She's just trying to get a rise out of you," my friend Lucas told me over beers. But it's hard to ignore when your phone keeps lighting up with her new life. Madison laughing at fancy brunches, Madison at a charity gala on Brandon's arm, Madison sipping champagne like she'd been born to it. At first, I wondered if maybe she'd been right. Maybe she could do better than me. I was just a construction guy with calloused hands and a beat-up Chevy. Brandon had money, connections, tailored suits. Maybe that's what she wanted all along. But then little cracks started showing. One night, around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was a text from Madison. "Do you ever miss me?" I just stared at it. I didn't reply. But the fact she sent it at all told me something. Brandon wasn't filling whatever void she thought he would. Over the next few months, those cracks widened. Friends of friends started telling me they'd seen Madison out at bars, not with Brandon, but alone, already tipsy, ranting about how men only cared about looks until someone younger came along. At one point, she posted a blurry selfie with the caption, "Funny how some people look perfect on paper but don't know how to love you in real life." It got deleted the next morning, but I'd seen it. Meanwhile, I kept grinding. Same work, same routine. I wasn't glowing up on Instagram, but I was steady. And in my quiet, steady life, something unexpected happened. Brandon's firm got hired to manage a construction company's rebrand. Guess who handled the contracts? Me. I remember walking into that meeting, hard hat still in my hand, and seeing Madison across the table. She froze. Brandon shook my hand like I was just another vendor, all charm and confidence. Madison's face was pale as drywall. In that moment, I realized she hadn't done better. She'd just done different. And different wasn't holding up. What I didn't realize then was how badly it would all collapse, and how I'd end up standing in the rubble with a smile. Don't forget to subscribe. After that contract meeting, I couldn't get the look on Madison's face out of my head. She'd built this whole shiny new world around Brandon, and suddenly I was standing in the middle of it, uninvited. She didn't say a word during the meeting. She just scribbled notes, eyes darting between me and Brandon like she was waiting for me to explode. I didn't. I sat there calm, professional, even cracked a joke about deadlines. Brandon laughed. Madison's pen snapped in her hand. That was the first time I saw it, the mask slipping. 2 weeks later, my buddy Lucas called me, barely containing his laughter. "Bro, you're not going to believe this. Madison got kicked out of a wine bar last night." Apparently, she'd stormed in already drunk, found Brandon sitting with coworkers, and started screaming at one of the women for eyeing her man. She threw a glass. Security had to drag her out. That image burned itself into my mind. Madison, perfect hair, perfect captions, perfect boyfriend, reduced to a public spectacle. I'd spent years walking on eggshells with her, trying not to set her off. Now, Brandon was the one getting the storm. And it wasn't just that night. Words started floating back to me in pieces. Madison showing up at Brandon's office, accusing him of cheating. Madison calling his phone 20, 30 times in a row. Madison crying on Instagram Live at 3 a.m., ranting about how men pretend to be heroes but abandon you when you need them most. Her followers ate it up like a reality show. Meanwhile, my path and Brandon's kept crossing. He wasn't the devil I expected. In fact, he was surprisingly human. During one site visit, we ended up sharing lunch. He asked about the job, the hours, even admitted he envied guys like me who built something tangible. "I spend all day selling ideas," he said. "At least you get to point at concrete and say, 'Yeah, I made that.'" I didn't know it then, but that was the crack in the door. Madison must have caught wind that Brandon and I were talking because that's when the harassment started. Notes left under my windshield wipers. My tires slashed one morning before work. And then the worst, she showed up outside my apartment at midnight, pounding on the door so hard the neighbors called the cops. "Ryan, you think you're so much better without me?" she screamed from the hallway. "You think he's going to keep you around when he finds out what you really are?" Her voice broke on the last word, sliding from rage into something small and desperate. I didn't open the door. I just sat on the couch, fists clenched, listening to the sound of her sobbing on the other side until the cops arrived. That's when I realized Madison hadn't just lost me. She was losing herself. And the scarier part? She was starting to drag me back into her chaos, whether I wanted it or not. What I couldn't see yet was that her spiral was about to become very, very public, and I'd be standing in the perfect position to watch it all implode. It all came to a head at Brandon's company's quarterly gala. Big event, black tie, lots of money in the room. I wasn't supposed to be there, but fate's funny like that. Our construction firm had donated to the charity Brandon's team was sponsoring, so I got an invite. When I walked into that ballroom, I felt like a fish out of water. Suits everywhere, glittering dresses, chandeliers that probably cost more than my truck. I figured I'd have a drink, shake a few hands, and slip out before anyone noticed. Except someone did notice. Madison. She was already unsteady when I saw her across the room, glass of champagne in hand, laughing too loudly at nothing. She spotted me, froze for half a second, then beelined straight toward me. Brandon was mid-conversation with some executives, clueless. Well, well, look who crawled out of the dirt, Madison sneered, her lipstick smudged. Ryan, the construction boy. Surprised you didn't track mud on their nice floors. A few people nearby turned to look. I forced a smile. Good to see you, Madison. You doing all right? That cracked her. Her face twisted, voice rising. Don't you dare pity me. You think you're better than me now because you sit at Brandon's table? Madison, I whispered sharply. Not here. But she didn't care. She spun toward Brandon, loud enough for half the room to hear. Tell them, Brandon. Tell them how you begged me to move in because you can't stand being alone. Tell them how you… And then, smash. Her champagne glass slipped and shattered across the marble. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Brandon's face went pale as he rushed to grab her arm, but Madison yanked it back violently. You think he's your friend? She shouted, pointing at me, finger trembling. He's not your friend, Brandon. He's waiting for you to screw up so he can take everything from you, just like he took me. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Security moved in, gently trying to guide her out, but she fought them, kicking off one heel and screaming, I could do way better than all of you. Her voice cracked on that last word, echoing through the ballroom. By the time they dragged her outside, the damage was done. Executives whispering, phones recording, Brandon standing frozen, staring at the broken glass like he wished it could swallow him whole. And me? I just stood there, heart pounding, realizing Madison had finally shown the world the side of her I'd lived with for years. The mask was gone. Later that night, as I drove home, I kept hearing her voice in my head. He's waiting for you to screw up. Funny thing is, I wasn't, but her meltdown had just handed me something I didn't know I wanted until that moment. Leverage. And leverage, in the right hands, is a dangerous thing. Update, wow. I didn't expect my last post to blow up like that. Honestly, I was just venting, but holy hell, y'all had opinions. First off, thank you. Seriously. Reading your comments felt like therapy I didn't know I needed. Some of you had me laughing through my anger. Bro, she's one glass of rosé away from being a TLC special, will live rent-free in my head forever. Others hit me right in the chest with the whole, she didn't upgrade, she detonated. Damn, that one stuck. So the big news, yeah, Madison did completely implode at Brandon's gala. I didn't exaggerate. It was worse in person than I could even describe. Seeing her scream about me in front of Brandon's bosses, heels off, glass shattered, mascara running, it was like every private fight we'd ever had, except broadcasted on a stage with chandeliers. People had their phones out. There are probably clips floating around on TikTok by now. I'll admit, part of me felt sick watching it. I used to love her, you know? But another part of me, the darker part, felt this cold, sharp satisfaction. For years, she made me feel small, like I wasn't enough. And now? She made herself small. No one pushed her. She did it on her own. Here's the kicker. Brandon called me 2 days later. Yeah, him. Said he wanted to grab a drink. At first I thought it was a setup, like maybe Madison put him up to it, but no. Turns out he's done with her. He's embarrassed, his reputation took a hit, and apparently she's been spiraling at his place nonstop. He asked me straight up, was she like this before me? All I said was, you've only seen the surface. He just stared into his whiskey and muttered, Jesus Christ. Now here's where it gets wild. Brandon's firm still needs my crew for the rebrand project. So whether Madison likes it or not, me and Brandon are going to be in each other's orbit. And from the way he's been talking, he actually respects me. Keeps asking about the construction business, how I got into it, stuff no one ever bothered to ask when I was with Madison. Some of y'all in the comments joked about me ending up with her boss. I'm not gonna lie. That thought hadn't crossed my mind before. But after the last few weeks, let's just say Madison's about to learn what trading up really looks like. Because here's the thing, she tried to burn me down, but she set herself on fire instead. And now I'm standing here with the matches she left behind. Buckle up. Meeting up with Brandon after the gala was surreal. This was the guy Madison had chosen over me, the better option. And yet, Sitting across from him at that bar, he didn't look like some untouchable upgrade. He looked tired, embarrassed, almost human. She's been camped out at my place for days, he admitted, rubbing his temples. Screaming 1 minute, sobbing the next. My neighbors have already complained. I didn't gloat, didn't smirk. I just let him talk, and talk he did. Turns out Madison had been blowing through his credit card, picking fights at company events, and sending unhinged emails to women she thought were threats. Brandon looked like a man who'd woken up next to a ticking time bomb. She kept saying she could do better than you, he muttered. Now I'm wondering if maybe you could do better than her. That line stuck. From there, things shifted fast. Brandon started inviting me to meetings, not just construction-related, but actual strategy sessions. He wanted my input. He liked how grounded I was. Madison must have caught wind, because that's when her stunts escalated. One morning, I walked out to my truck and found the word traitor scratched into the driver's side door. My gut said Madison, but I couldn't prove it. Then a week later, Brandon called me, pissed. Madison had shown up at his office building, screaming at the receptionist that she needed to warn everyone about me. Security escorted her out. It was pathetic, but also useful. See, Brandon's firm was hosting another event, smaller than the gala but important, client mixers, investors, press. Brandon hesitated to invite me, worried Madison would crash it. I told him, if she shows up, let her. She'll do the work for you. And that night, she did. Halfway through the mixer, the doors slammed open. Madison stormed in, hair wild, face blotchy from crying. She pointed straight at Brandon. "You're a liar. You said you loved me." Then she turned on me. "And you," her voice cracked, trembling with rage, "you think you're better than me now standing next to him? You're nothing without me. Nothing." People froze. Conversations died mid-sentence. Phones came out again. Brandon just stood there, stunned. And I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just looked at her with pity. That expression, calm pity, landed harder than any words could. Security escorted her out again, this time less gently. Her heel broke as they dragged her away, clattering across the tile floor like the sound of her dignity shattering. The next morning, Brandon called me. "I'm done. She's blocked from every building, every event. If she shows up again, cops will handle it." And just like that, Madison went from better to banned. From the shiny new partner of the boss to the embarrassing ex no one wanted near the office. That's when I realized my revenge wasn't going to be about screaming back or getting even. It was going to be about letting her destroy herself while I quietly built something new in the ashes. And standing in those ashes was Brandon, looking at me with the kind of respect Madison had never once given. After that second meltdown at Brandon's mixer, Madison didn't fade quietly into the background. No, she doubled down. First came the late-night calls. Unknown numbers, always her voice on the other end. Sometimes screaming, sometimes sobbing, sometimes whispering things like, "I made you, you'll crawl back." I stopped answering. Then came the texts, hundreds of them, swinging from love bombing to death threats. When I blocked her, she made fake accounts. Then she escalated. One morning, I walked out to my truck and found every window smashed in. Glass glittered across the seats like ice. A note was taped to the steering wheel. "Better than you. Always better than you." I called the cops, filed a report, but there wasn't much they could do without proof. Still, I knew it was her. That handwriting, jagged and frantic, I'd seen it scrawled across sticky notes on our fridge back when we lived together. The same week, Brandon pulled me aside after a meeting. He looked rattled. "She showed up at my apartment, banged on the door for an hour. Neighbors called the cops. She told them I was abusive, tried to get me arrested." His jaw clenched. "They didn't buy it, thank God. But Ryan, she's dangerous." He wasn't wrong. It all came to a sick peak when Madison dragged her mom into it. One Saturday, I get a knock at my apartment door. Standing there is a tired-looking woman I vaguely recognize, her mom. She's holding a casserole dish, like this is some suburban sitcom. "Ryan, please," she said, her voice trembling. "She's not well. She cries all night. She says you humiliated her. Could you just talk to her? Help her through this?" I almost laughed. Talk to her? After she'd smashed my truck? After she'd tried to torch Brandon's career? No. I shook my head. She wanted better. She got it. This isn't my problem anymore. Her mom's face crumpled, and for a moment I felt almost guilty. But then I pictured Madison's smirk the day she left me, throwing that line like a dagger. I could do way better than you. And just like that, the guilt vanished. By then, Brandon and I were spending more time together, not just at work. Dinners, conversations that stretched past midnight. The weirdest part? He got me. He asked about my life, my work, my dreams in a way Madison never once had. One night, over whiskey, he said, "You ever think she was right? You really could do better, just not the way she meant." That hit me hard. Meanwhile, Madison was unraveling in public. A video went viral of her screaming outside Brandon's office, barefoot, mascara streaking down her face, shrieking that she'd been replaced. People in the comments tore her apart. The girl who once flaunted her better life online was now meme material. And I stayed quiet. I didn't clap back, didn't defend myself. I let the world see her for what she was. But here's the kicker. While she was crying in her mom's basement trying to figure out how it all went so wrong, I was starting something new with the man she thought was her golden ticket. That's when it hit me. My revenge wasn't just about watching her fall. It was about showing her, without a word, that she hadn't just lost me. She'd lost everything. Update number 2. Okay, y'all weren't kidding when you said grab popcorn. I thought my story was wild enough when Madison snapped at Brandon's gala, but apparently that was just the trailer. The full movie dropped in the last 2 weeks. First things first. Yes, that viral video making the rounds of a woman barefoot, mascara smeared, screaming outside an office building? That's Madison. A couple of you even DM'd me, like, "Bro, this has got to be your ex. Congratulations, you guessed it." That clip's been stitched into TikToks, memes, even reaction videos. My personal favorite was someone overlaying circus music while she yells, "I could do way better than you or you," into the sky. And before anyone asks, no, I didn't leak it. The internet did what the internet does. I just sat back and watched her upgrade turn into a punchline. The comments from last time really stuck with me. A lot of you said the best revenge is no revenge, just living better. I hear you. And honestly, that's exactly what's happening. Madison is crying in her mom's basement, literally. Her mom tried to ambush me with a casserole, begging me to fix her. Meanwhile, my life is the calmest it's ever been. My truck's fixed, my jobs are steady, and I've been, well, seeing someone. Yeah, that someone. I didn't plan it. I didn't go out hunting for some twisted way to one-up her. But after everything with Brandon, the meetings, the late-night talks, the dinners, it just happened. He respects me. He listens. He sees me in a way Madison never did. What started as professional turned into friendship, and what turned into friendship turned into more. And here's the kicker. Last week, Brandon asked me to marry him. I said yes. So here we are. Madison's old boss, the man she left me for, the guy she paraded around as proof she upgraded, is now my fiancé. Some of you told me to burn her house down. Tempting, not gonna lie. Some of you said to just block her forever. But this feels sweeter. No yelling, no revenge plots, just me building a life with the man she thought would prove she was better than me. Turns out I really could do better, just not in the way she ever imagined. I thought Madison had finally burned herself out after the viral meltdown. She'd gone quiet. No texts, no fake accounts, no late-night calls. Her mom even stopped showing up at my door with casseroles. For a few weeks, it felt like peace had settled in. Then Brandon and I posted the engagement photos. Nothing crazy, just a simple picture of us on his balcony, city skyline glowing behind us, the ring catching the light. The caption was short. Better together, forever. Within hours, my phone was blowing up. Congratulations, heart emojis, old friends messaging things like, "Dude, this is wild, but I'm so happy for you." It felt good, like I was finally standing on solid ground. And then came Madison. She showed up at our engagement dinner. We'd rented out the back room of a restaurant, close friends, a few coworkers, nothing huge. Brandon was mid-toast when the doors burst open and there she was, Madison. Hair unbrushed, eyeliner smeared, dress hanging off one shoulder like she'd thrown it on in a panic. "You can't marry him," she screamed, pointing at Brandon. "You're supposed to marry me." The room went dead silent. Forks clattered against plates. Brandon's face hardened. She stumbled forward, knocking over a chair, eyes wild. Ryan, please. You don't understand. He used me. He lied to me. He's using you too. You think this is love? It's revenge. He's punishing me through you. Her voice cracked, desperation leaking through the rage. I stood slowly. My heart was pounding, but my voice came out calm. Steady. Madison, you told me you could do better, remember? Her face twisted, eyes wide, tears streaking down her cheeks. I didn't mean it. I was angry. I was stupid. Please just don't do this. Don't marry him. We can fix it. We can go back. And then silence again, the kind where everyone in the room holds their breath at once. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman who once made me feel small, standing there shattered in front of my family, my friends, my fiancé. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel anger, or grief, or shame. I just felt nothing. No, Madison, I said softly. We can't go back. You already proved what you think I'm worth. Her knees buckled like I'd hit her. She dropped to the floor, sobbing, clutching at the hem of her dress. Brandon signaled the staff, and within minutes, 2 servers gently lifted her up and guided her out. Her cries echoed down the hallway until the door shut behind her. When I sat back down, the whole room exhaled. Brandon squeezed my hand under the table. The toast resumed, shakier than before but stronger somehow, like everyone understood they'd just witnessed the final act of a long, messy play. And me, I felt free, truly free. Madison had tried to destroy me, tried to show the world she could do better, but in the end, she destroyed herself. And I was sitting there with everything she thought she deserved but never earned. The night of the engagement dinner ended with laughter and clinking glasses, but when I finally crawled into bed with Brandon, I couldn't sleep. Not because I regretted anything, God no, but because the ghost of Madison's words still echoed in my head. I could do way better than you. For so long, those words had haunted me. They'd made me doubt myself, made me shrink in my own skin. I let her voice convince me I wasn't enough. But lying there with Brandon's arm draped across me, steady and warm, I realized something. It wasn't that I wasn't enough. It was that I wasn't enough for her, and thank God for that. Because Madison didn't want steady. She didn't want loyalty, or love, or late nights fixing her car in the driveway. She wanted flash. She wanted a trophy. And the thing about trophies? They tarnish. The fallout hit her hard. After the restaurant fiasco, Brandon filed a restraining order. Word got around fast. Clients didn't want her in meetings. Her own coworkers started whispering. She ended up quitting, or maybe she was pushed out. Either way, last I heard, she's back in her mom's basement, curtains drawn, the same social media accounts she once flaunted now wiped clean. And me? I wake up every morning with a man who respects me, who looks me in the eye and actually sees me. We're planning a small wedding, something quiet, intimate. Nothing like the grand spectacle Madison always demanded. Just people who matter, people who want to celebrate love without the performance. Sometimes I catch myself wondering if Madison scrolls through her phone at night, staring at our engagement photos, wondering how the hell she lost both the man she thought was her prize and the man she thought was beneath her. But the truth is, I don't care anymore. She wanted better. And in chasing that illusion, she lost everything. Meanwhile, I kept living, kept building, and somehow ended up with the very thing she thought was hers. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to smash glasses or throw accusations in public. I just had to stand still long enough for her to collapse under the weight of her own choices. And now, when I hear her voice in my head, it doesn't sting anymore. It makes me smile. Because she was right. I really could do better. Just not the way she ever imagined.